You've got to be confident but not cocky. And you've got to tackle whatever comes at you and not expect somebody else to do that.
Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to Framework Leadership, a podcast about principles and ideas you can use today to take your leadership to the next level. I'm your host, Ken Engel, president of Southeastern University.
And I'm your co-host, Michael Steiner, vice president for innovation.
And we're excited today to introduce our guest for the show, Randy Knapp. And Randy is a leader here in Central Florida, a successful businessman and a board member of the Central Florida Development Council. Randy is also CEO of RLK Real Estate Development. One of the firm's recent developments has been the Camp Margarita RV Resort and Cabana. Cabin's located in Auburndale. Randy, it's great to have you with us today.
Well, it's great to be here with you today. I'm honored.
Yeah, privileged to have this conversation. I want to start off the conversation by talking about your professional journey. Tell us a little bit about the steps that you took to kind of grow and climb leadership opportunity, how you became a CEO. Yeah, that'd be great to hear.
Well, it started with very early. I grew up on a farm in southern Michigan. We moved to Florida when I was 10. And my father, he's 88 today, you'll never get the farming out of him. Mm-hmm. And he raised us like we were still on the farm, even though him and his brother, my uncle, did real estate development. So every day after school, we worked somehow in the development, started mowing lawns and mowing the vacant lots and helping with underground utilities. We did everything ourselves. And early in my adulthood, he wanted me to go from the construction side into the sales side. And we were building 55-plus lifestyle communities, and I just felt, how can I do that? These people they're at the end of their careers. They're approaching retirement. They know so much more than I do. And he had a real simple philosophy. You got to jump in, and what aren't you going to know? First of all, you've worked in every aspect of it, but tell them. If you don't know something, you'll get the answer. And it was that confidence booster, that push, to get into the real world. So that's what we did. And then, unfortunately, an early in my mother's life illness that took her life young forced our generation to come in and kind of take over. So you just had to have no fear. Yeah. And as we talked earlier today, not being cocky in the business, you just had to tackle whatever came at you head on and solve problems. And so that's how I got into the development and real estate world, and I just love it. I think you got to be passionate about what you do. And if I wouldn't have been, I'd have chosen something else. But I love it. No project's the same. I like that. Yep. You deal with people. I like people. And treat people like you want to be treated.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about the real estate industry. I mean, just in how you've seen it grow, evolve, develop over time. And really, we've got a lot of students that might be listening to the show thinking, maybe that's a career I want to make out of. What do they need to know about that industry? What can we do with it? And tell us a little bit more about it from your perspective.
Well, I think it's a great career. It's a great career path, and there's a lot more future to this path. And we're so fortunate if the students or young folks choose this geographic location. We couldn't be in a better spot in our country. Right. Well, I think we're in the top 5 in growth, in residential, business industries coming in. We're trying to create that live, work, play, and stay atmosphere. And how does it not work when you're on the 50-yard line between Tampa and Orlando? Right. 2 of the best airports in the world. Business opportunity that's existing and coming into our area in the Central Florida Development Council role. That's what we do. We're trying to pave the way to keep our students here, and so many leave and come back and realize what they had. But I think the real estate profession is here to stay. I mean, growth is causing it. And the opportunity in any sector, I don't care if it's residential or commercial, logistics, we're a great logistics area, great employment centers. I feel like for somebody who wants to dream big and open up opportunities and get the satisfaction, that's what drives me, to see something go from your head to paper to reality. that is a big
See
deal.
it come to
And
life.
Yes.
you talk about, we've heard this a lot, right, of how much growth is happening, population growth, like
Yes.
that's happening no matter what here in Central Florida. But tell us a little bit from your perspective, maybe are there some cool things that our students, and audience needs to know about Central Florida specifically? Like what some industries are coming in, what are things to be a part of? I mean, with your kind of vantage point, what's coming next for this area outside of just more people coming in?
I would say one of the most exciting areas that's being worked on very hard. I was going to say behind the scenes, but it's really now on the forefront is the Innovations District, where we're from a Central Florida Development Council and from local, experience and opportunity. We want to create a corridor that keeps the innovation dreams alive and don't lose them to the Research Triangle in Raleigh, Durham, and
Right,
Simi
right.
Valley.
Yeah.
Let's keep them right here. And we've got SunTrax, which is open now, and the autonomous driverless technology
Yeah.
and smarter, safer toll booths. It's mind-blowing what technology has done.
Wow.
But then you've still got a lot of the farming, opportunities, manufacturing. We're fortunate to have Publix and their organization, Coca-Cola. I didn't know this, but the largest plant they have in the world is in Auburndale, Florida.
Wow. I didn't
So yeah, it's a big opportunity. So we have some really world-renowned, companies to go to work for. Or if you want to go small, you can do
Right.
that. We've
Yeah.
got so many opportunities in Polk County and Central Florida in general. Yeah.
That's so good. How do you balance the demands of being a CEO with your personal life? Do you have any tips for achieving a work-life balance, especially in a high-stress industry and all that you have to do? How do you bring that balance?
To me, the balance is achieved by building a good team around you
Yes.
and trusting when you get the team in place that you've done a good job getting somebody with the experience. In our case, in Margaritaville, it's personality and it's delivering the best experience possible to the customer. So it's very important that you get socially connected
Yes.
people and a team that works together. And once you get it, trust their decision making, trust their judgments, and be there to support, but don't micromanage.
Yeah.
The micromanagers, I think,
great
tend to
wisdom.
eat their time up.
Right. And give themselves more stress than they need it.
That's right.
Right, because you're doing someone else's job for
That's
them.
right.
Instead
That's
of your
right.
own. Yeah.
Right. Now,
That's
for me personally, I have a wonderful family organization that support each other and certainly support me, and that's a huge help. We're all about family time, all about taking the personal time so you don't burn out, and somebody's there to cover for somebody that's not, always. But I think the biggest thing is surround yourself with capable people and let them do their thing.
Well, and surrounding yourself with capable people has been really one of the secret sauces for the success that you guys have had and all the incredible projects that you're able to do. How have you found those people? Like, how do you go out and get talent? What do you look for when you're looking for a new hire?
It's a challenge. But we love a good challenge.
Right.
So we've used Indeed. That's a big
Yeah,
source.
right.
We've actually used I use the terminology headhunter, where you get a business that specializes in finding the best possible candidates, and it's a little bit expensive to do. The fees you have to pay. But again, if you go back to the root reason that you've got the business in Margaritaville, it's that customer experience. So we know it's worth paying that if that's what we need to do to go after the best team member.
And now you were telling us earlier a little bit in the session that you were doing presenting to our students about how you're starting to have hire from within, right?
Yes.
People that were at the front end and now they're kind of coming up, which is something cool. Obviously, Margaritaville
We're
is
huge
new.
on that.
Yeah,
We are
yeah.
huge. We've got a young lady, Amanda. She's just a rock star. She started out in the ranger station and it showed incredible promise there. And now we've moved her into events and going to be event sales, and she's gone to some different functions representing us without help. And it's like, bring it. And we love that. We've got, we just hired a new executive chef from the Hard Rock and bringing in the culinary side. And I work closely, I'm on the board with the Central Florida Tourism Development Council, and that's a big deal. It started farm to fork, Now it's a culinary experience, and there's a lot of travel that is initiated and chosen based on those types of options. So it's trying to stay ahead of the competition. And again, our area, we got the climate going for us. We've got the
got all
location
that,
going for us. We got the two of the best airports in the world on either side of us. Lakeland, I think, is about to get they haven't made the official announcement. We're working on an airline for passengers there. And
Cool.
yeah,
Oh, that's
so
great.
a lot of neat things coming.
Yeah, that's so good. You know, real estate is a highly competitive field. How do you and your company stay innovative, maintain the edge in the market, especially today? And how do you, because as you grow, the sigmoid curve, you're always on that curve growing, but there comes inflection points, things that happen that you have to conflict and things like that to navigate so that you can continue to keep. How do you do that?
It's staying in touch with your customer. Number one, I think we do a really good job at listening to the needs. And sometimes they're subtle, sometimes they're blunt and head on. But if you figure out what those customers are really wanting and what their top, 5 or 10 things, we talked a little bit about Barcaritaville. When you find that 70% of your guests travel with pets, then why not travel with a clean pet? Why not? They treat those pets like kids, and have a spa for them. Our competition doesn't do that.
Wow.
We did one of the best things we did is fire pits. Fire pits are almost like a high school dance. You cause the mingling. We didn't realize the reaction it was going to have, but in talking with our guests, it's one of the best things. Families meet families, kids meet kids. Kids make friends so fast. And the next thing you know, it's like we don't want to go to the RV place we used to go to. We want to come to Camp Margaritaville. So it's those things. Listening, I think, being a good listener.
Love it.
And applying those things that you can make work, because it's a balance between the economics and what you can add and what you can't add, and then some of it you put into your strategic planning for maybe it's a budget item next year.
Yeah.
But always doing something to improve the property.
That's good.
Yeah, I think that's important.
And the results speak for itself. I think this morning you said you had one couple that spent
Over 40 times.
40
in
times,
1 year.
which is nuts, right?
Yes,
It comes
yes.
to me, I mean, that kind of brand loyalty is it means a lot, and it shows the kind of impact that you guys are having. Tell us a little bit more about how your community, how your organization is impacting our community. A little bit of kind of that corporate responsibility. How does that play into your business strategy?
Well, it's very important, I think, to be involved in your community. We're involved in our chamber, obviously, and we're involved in any community leadership and community functions that they have. We're encouraging, now that we have an event center. We just opened a center that the capacity keeps moving depending on. We had to add a little bit of space to the bathroom area, but we're about 800 people that we can accommodate in this one room. That opened doors from businesses, from retreats, from the camper rallies for the RVers. We're hosting an event next weekend with Giant Recreation World. That's 565 people, and it's sit down dinner. It's not just the space; it's providing those services that you can't find in most places. So it's creating those edges that make economic sense, but also deliver something that the RVer wants.
Right.
And at the same time, opening up to the public in our local community. We've hosted a number of business events now, and it's just a lot of fun. We create the same vibe for the businesses that come out that we do for our guests.
Wow, that's great. What's your next big dream? What are you
Well,
looking at
our
on the
next
horizon?
big dream, and we've not officially made this announcement, I'll tell you all. I'm a car guy, but I'm very careful not to get emotional about it, or I control it. I control it with third-party experts. So we bring in, if we come up with an idea, we dream up, something, then I want to make sure we pick experts in that field to come in and really evaluate and say, hey, Ken, great idea, but maybe not here. Or, the demographics don't line up for this. But this is going to be a man cave or she shed condo. We're going to build 55 luxury condos that will house your toys. And instead of having to go rent at self-storage, you'll be able to buy And
Brilliant.
then the exteriors will be done. It'll be very much like a condo association, but there'll be a clubhouse,
Cool.
well secured, well landscaped, cameras, feel good,
Right.
close to the neighborhood. But it'll be a place where you can congregate with like minds, and you can do fun things like fundraisers. They were talking today
Oh, my
about,
gosh,
raising money for the canines,
Yeah.
and that would be a fun place to do it. Let's do a coffee and donut on a Saturday morning and roll your garage doors up and pull your cars out. But boats, RVs,
So you're
cars.
talking about experiential place you want to be, high-end storage is essentially what it is. I mean,
Correct.
it's man cave is what
Correct.
you're doing. Is rent a man cave.
Correct.
If you
But
can't
no,
build it.
you'll own it.
Own a man
You'll
cave.
own it.
Okay, you own
Yeah,
the
you'll
tunnels,
own
but
it. You'll own it.
Own a man cave.
And you know, when you
it's
look
brilliant.
at and further, what's driving it is take a look at the subdivisions that are developing
Right.
today.
Right, yeah.
They're smaller lots, and it's not because developers or home builders want to build that product. That's what's in demand.
Right.
And every one of those now is gone to HOA deed restrictions that prevent any outdoor storage of any kind. In some cases, I don't think they've even got room to store their holiday ornaments.
Right.
You've
Right,
got to look
right.
out to
Yeah.
storage. So this fills that void, fills that bill,
Yeah.
and allows you to do whatever your mind can create. I mean, if you want it, basically raw on the inside with finished floor and air conditioning and lights, you can do that. But if you want it themed to your favorite car manufacturer, you want a
Right.
lift, you want a
Right.
mezzanine with a pool table, whatever you want to do.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
We hope
Great
to be
idea.
rolling that out in the spring.
Cool. And that's going to be out in Arbondale, or
That's going to be in South Lakeland.
South Lakeland.
South Lakeland,
Brilliant.
okay.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Good to know.
Yes, and then we're working on another project in Volusia County. It is riverfront on the St. Johns.
Okay.
It'll be an RV resort, and we'll put a 60-room hotel, boutique hotel, direct riverfront. And what's really cool there is that river, goes from East Orlando, Sanford, all the way to Jacksonville. And it's such a great fishing, recreation body of water. It's just a cherished river. And so we've got 199, I think, boat slips approved.
Wow.
So for somebody to come and spend a weekend,
Yep.
it's Auburndale on steroids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's amazing.
I can't wait to see it. That'll be exciting.
Well, we're going to move into our fire round to close out our conversation today. And we like to ask a few questions surrounding kind of everything we've discussed on the podcast. We want to grab a few practical, applicable pieces of advice from your experience for all of our listeners. So just 3 quick questions. Michael, fire the first one.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So a lot of different people and different listen to our podcast right now. Tell us a little bit about what it means to actually have an impact with your career as an entrepreneur, right? What does it mean to go above and beyond? Thinking a lot about what you guys have done, not just in creating Margaritaville, creating great products, but actually creating impact on a community. How can entrepreneurs think that way?
I think it's the effects, the good effects that you create on the community, on the employment centers, on the creating nicer lives for those people in the community. That's the biggest impact for me. That's the driver. I mean, it's not. It's you don't look at the greed side. I don't at all. I mean the success will come by putting together a good team and a good product.
Yeah.
And to create something that's fun to be a part of, that will survive you long after we're gone.
Right.
And it will be something that is good for the community. That's a big driver, I think, for most developers.
Love it.
Yeah. Second question, what are the leadership qualities or skills that are most essential for really achieving long-term success?
I think the biggest is problem solving. You've got to be confident but not cocky, and you've got to tackle whatever comes at you and not expect somebody else to do that.
To do it, sure.
I mean, you definitely want to surround yourself with people that can, but the challenges that you get thrown at you, you can't throw a towel in. You don't,
right.
you don't get a second chance a lot of times in those areas. You just have to pivot and solve.
Wow.
Those 2 things. If you can solve problems better than the next person, you have got a huge leg up.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
So good. Last question to close our time out. If you could go back in time and give your 21-year-old self a piece of advice, what would it be?
Wow, that's a good question. I think back then, if I could have I had wonderful mentors in my uncle and my father. And we were so close-knit that sometimes we didn't take the blinders off and look outside at what opportunities there were. And when I got introduced to the group that I went to work with in the mid-'90s in Marietta, Atlanta, that did shopping center development for Publix and Kroger, and I saw they had the same kind of principles of doing wonderful projects, not merchant build. They built for their own account, which meant they were building quality, and they were looking for the best, tenants to occupy the center. I think if I could have surrounded myself earlier, get with good people, make sure you're surrounding yourself with people that either, I'm not going to say like-minded, but people that will banter with you professionally,
right.
challenge you, and generally or genuinely care about the conversation and you. If you can surround yourself with good people like that, trustworthy, that's another big thing, and respect, then you're on the road to success. You have to surround yourself with good people.
With good people. So good and well said. Well, thank you, Randy, for joining us for this
Thank you for having me.
conversation. Yeah, what a privilege and incredible wisdom and knowledge and from all of your experiences, just significant.
Well, the privilege is mine, and I can't thank you enough for having me as a guest. And I'd welcome you to come out to Margaritaville or any of the new projects anytime.
See, I can't wait for this the man cave to see
Right.
what that's like too.
Right.
This is exciting. I want to thank everybody for listening in on the Framework Leadership Podcast. Take care.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Framework Leadership. If you're watching on YouTube right now would be a great time to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you can get more leadership content right into your YouTube feed. You can also check us out on Instagram at Kent_Ingle, at Dr. Michael Steiner, or on Twitter and YouTube at Kent Ingle. And hey, if you love great email newsletters, and I know that I do, you want to check out the Framework Leadership newsletter. Every single Friday drops in great tips to be a better leader, resources, thoughts right into your inbox. Check it out. You can sign up at kentingle.com. Make sure you hop onto there. Thank you so much for listening to Framework Leadership.
Take care, everybody.